Hey friends, it's Scott. I want to take a moment in the middle of the show here and just thank our sponsor, Tupil. I was chatting with Johnny Marler recently. Johnny, isn't screen sharing like a solved problem? Like, why would I even consider something custom or a premium tool like Tupil?
Yeah, I asked the same question when I first heard about Tupil. But what you realize is once you try Tupil, coding is a completely different experience than a meeting. It's interactive, it's fast paced, there's exchange, and it requires precision, unlike a meeting. So it's kind of like why would you buy a gaming mouse when a laptop trackpad works fine? I mean, technically you can play Elden Ring with the DK bongos. It's possible, but if you want to play it well, you want a nice controller. So it's the same with Tupil. People use Teams and Zoom for meetings because they're optimized for business conversations, but we need something for pairing, and that's what Tupil is. It's just one click to jump on a call, to share your screen, to start annotating on that screen, and Tupil's optimized so that you can actually still compile your code while you're pairing. I use Tupil, and it just makes pairing so much nicer than when using generic screen sharing tools. And
Yeah, I think if I'm already spending like a ton of money on a fancy keyboard or fancy machine, I want the best tools for the job. Like Jedi builds their own lightsaber, and Tupil is definitely a lightsaber worth checking out. You can see them at tupil.app. It's the best remote pair programming app on both Mac OS and Windows. Hi, friends. I'm Scott Hanselman. This is another episode of Hansel Minutes. Today, I have the pleasure of speaking with Camille Tomlin, VP of IT Systems and Infrastructure at the Philadelphia International Airport. How are you?
I'm great. And yourself?
I am very excited because I just got back from overseas, and, we're all thinking about the airport right now because of the shutdown. We're all thinking about all those systems in our lives that run perfectly and quietly until one day they don't. And we start thinking about that. And my wife and I were getting on the Wi-Fi at the airport. And then my wife was like, who's in charge of that? Like, who does the Wi-Fi? And then we saw when they were changing our ticket, like, who does that thing? And you could just sit in the airport and just sit at a gate and look at everything from the signage to the screens to the Wi-Fi and just like, who's in charge of all this? So I thought it would be amazing to talk to someone who's actually in charge of that. And I'm curious, when someone hears head of IT at an airport, what do they misunderstand about what you do?
Oh, usually the first thing I get is, do you get to fly for free? That's what people always say.
It is a crime. It is a crime.
Like, no, we do not. I do not get to fly for free. But so working for the airport we are the landlord for all the tenants, all the businesses, all the airlines that operate within the airport. So our job is to maintain all the infrastructure, the facilities, and make sure passengers have a safe and seamless journey.
That is a really interesting way to think about it. Like, it makes total sense when you say it like that it's a big apartment building. And like, okay, United has that terminal and American has that terminal, and they're renters. They're leasing, I guess, aren't they?
Yes. It depends, and there are different type of lease agreements and all that. But like at Philadelphia, we have we're a hub for American Airlines, and they control a large portion of our terminals, and they manage their terminals. So like that infrastructure is all of them. My team supports the base infrastructure, but the airlines manage their own.
Okay, so then what's the layer though then? There's I'm imagining there's cables, there's racks of machines, there's the actual internet relationship with whoever's providing internet and getting them connectivity. Do different airlines want different stuff from the landlord?
Yeah, it depends. Actually, we just onboarded our newest airline in June, Aero Mexico. Direct flight from PHL to Mexico City. But that was the first time I actually had a new airline. So once they worked out their lease agreement and all the corporate stuff, it's how do we get them set up? So for example, any airline, they need internet, right? So they're like, okay, we're going to get a circuit. So that's where my team comes in. We will work with whoever is their internet provider. Let's say it's, I don't know, Comcast or something. That they work with us to get access to our facility to put their circuits in. So we have like a central utility hub building that circuits are, and my team will extend that circuit to wherever that location is. So we provide that fiber to like their nearest closet, wherever they're located. And then we hand off and the airline or tenant take it from there to place in their space.
Okay, so you're spending a lot of time in like project management type meetings with their IT head about they're going to bring their machines in, they're going to rack them, and they're going to live here, and they're going to plug in there. And then when are you managing how they use that internet? Like, I assume it's their own dedicated line, so they're not anywhere near one of the other airlines.
Correct. They have their own circuit, their own fiber. Sometimes tenants will lease fiber from us. Like we have miles and miles of cabling throughout the airport, so they may lease fiber from us. But we would just handle that handoff. But we don't have any insight into their networks or their systems.
Mm-hmm. So when I'm sitting at the airport and I get on the public Wi-Fi, that's another. I'm effectively borrowing that, and that's provided by you, or is that a company that came in and did that for you?
It depends. I will say, just for everyone listening, like there's a saying in the airport world: if you've been to one airport, you've been to one airport. Because how everyone does it, it could be done in many ways. Sometimes the airport may provide Wi-Fi services, or that may be a vendor. We have a contract with a vendor that provides public Wi-Fi. So there are different ways.
I see Boingo, I see T-Mobile, I see different, depending on which airport you get into, it's easier or less easy to get on the Wi-Fi.
Correct. It depends on what works for the airport.
This might be outside your purvey, but it just made me realize that sometimes I see when I go at an airport, you see all these different Wi-Fis like that are locked down that are probably not for me. Right. And then I see like something with an underscore or a letter A because they're trying clearly to be at the top because it's alphabetical order. And then I'm like, how many times does someone sneak into the airport and try to make a honeypot to get me to give them my details? Is that, you're nodding.
Unfortunately, that is something that happens in many public spaces, right?
In many public spaces.
You can find these erroneous Wi-Fi networks. Never click, people. Safety first. I would say a tip is you can always like go to the airport's website and like they probably have a link for like their Wi-Fi, and you'll see the specific SSID that airport says is their Wi-Fi. So don't just, even though it says like, a LAN or PHL airport guest, just check with the official website to make sure that SSID is correct. I would say that use that generally in your life.
Do you ever like run into like Terminal B or whatever, and you're just like, yeah, there's someone in here. There's an evil SSID. Do you have network engineers that are watching for rogues and running after them, or do they take care of themselves?
We have a dedicated InfoSec team. And
That's
our
amazing.
CISO does check, and we get, I can tell you about all the pen tests we've been through and all the work we do to keep everyone safe. But generally, like everyone, practice, was it digital health? Like, don't join things you don't know. Or seriously, check out with the airport's website, and they'll tell you exactly what the SSID would be.
So give me a sense of the scope of technology that you and your team have under their care. Like, I'm imagining everything from checking in and those kiosks to runways. How much of it is provided by the airport versus how much of it is provided by, is brought in, and then they're just sitting in your infrastructure?
So with the airport, okay, I'll give you another thing. I always tell like people, like an airport is a mini city, right? Like just imagine like we have a fire department, we have a police department, we have, of course, the airlines, we have stores. It's a public space. We have everything a city has, like water, bathrooms, restaurant, like, so everything you would take to support a city, we actually do in an airport. And on top of that, we have it's aviation, so we have all the FAA regulations and safety and all that our operation teams manage. So when you say the scope of IT, it's like if there's a chip in it, it requires a cable. I probably was consulted, we checked or reviewed, or would be involved.
Oh wow!
And the basic infrastructure.
Okay, but then the tower where the air traffic controllers are, they're probably on their own network with their own machines. Is that something that's under your purvey as well?
So the FAA tower is totally separate. This is a fun fact. So there's like the FAA tower, and then we have like ground towers that manage once the planes land.
Oh, really?
American, they tell what gate, and once it lands, then it's handed off to the ground towers.
I didn't know there were multiple towers.
Yes. If you come on to PHL, you'll see Like, just look me up. I'll give you the tour.
Yeah, exactly. Next time I land, I will come and get a tour of all the towers. But
Yeah.
I'm always thinking about, like, this is the thing about, I think, people like us that we're systems thinkers. So it's like, how can you visit an airport or any public space that's a mini city and not start just getting overwhelmed with like all the little details of all the little systems and like you said, everything with a chip.
And this is why I always tell people the airport is so fascinating for anyone who's like a general technologist, or you just, if you're into tech, like the airport is your place, because you can go in many, many directions, because we touch on many things. And on top of that, it's planes. Who doesn't like planes? What the fun part there. But yes, if there's our operations, there's lights, there's runway lights. If they need support, there's cabling, there's all the fiber infrastructure that has to go through the entire grounds. Like, our team makes sure that stuff is up and running and operational.
It seems like if there's one word, and I'm gonna take your entire job and break it down into one word. I keep hearing cabling. It seems like there's just more cable involved in your job than I would have expected.
Yes. I always I tell people, like, sometimes I talk to like the high schoolers and all the kids who come and visit the airport, but I was like, you think this is magic, right? It's Wi-Fi, it's cellular. There's a cable. There's a cable, trust me. So that tower, there are cables that go back to a data center. Even Wi-Fi, there's a cable that goes anywhere. But yeah, that's how we communicate. Like, if you want the same, all the we call them FIDs, the flight information displays, and when you're in the airport, with all the flights,
like the arrival departure boards. Yes. And all of those, like, big TVs.
Correct. It's the same system. I have to cable that from terminal A west to terminal F, right? Like, all that stuff is interconnected, all the number of switches and rooms.
So those all have IP addresses. Every one of those TVs has an IP address or more. And I'm wondering about, like, subnetting, and are they VPN? How do you keep people from sneaking in and taking over that TV set?
Oh, yeah. No, it is. We have a lot of closed networks. You cannot just join. There's no plugging in. It's no grabbing anything. That's another thing. We do have a lot of on-prem systems to keep things locked down that don't talk to the internet at all.
Good.
But it all starts with the cable, right?
Yeah.
And if you even go a step further, it also starts with the circuit, right?
So many people do assume that it's Wi-Fi. Like, I was sitting at because I mentioned that I was traveling last week. I was in Portugal, and we were sitting at a food court, and I was with a techie, and I'm a techie, but this guy was a little more of a hacker type. And he noticed that the menu of the little Jamba Juice that was there, or whatever the Portuguese equivalent of Jamba Juice, was really just a TV with a Chromecast. So he joined it and started putting like family pictures on the TV of this poor little Jamba Juice. And I was like, dude, don't do that. And he's like, well, they shouldn't have had an open network. It makes you realize that, like, that not every TV at the airport is a Chromecast with like a TV from Costco. It's pretty sophisticated systems.
Yeah, that is unfortunate. No, there are enterprise grade monitors that we buy and displays that don't have all those smart TV connections to it. So no, they're enterprise. That's another battle. We always tell people, everyone always equate things to, like, well, in my house, it's like, well, yeah, enterprise level stuff.
See, when people say enterprise level, it's like when people say military grade or whatever. Yeah. It's just trying to express that this is a level that you didn't even know existed.
Yeah. It's a little different.
It is a little different. Here's a tough question for you. What is the proudest quiet win that your team has had? Like, something that made a huge impact, massive impact, but it's not going to get in a newspaper. Because people are always redesigning airports, and they have a whole thing about, visit the new airport, it's got a new terminal. But they don't talk about your team and something amazing that you guys pulled off.
Wow. Wow. Scott.
Mm-hmm.
The spotlight. I feel it.
No stress. I just feel like it could be bringing on Aeromexico for the first time, like a new airport.
I was going to say that. Like, that was one, because it's aviation is highly regulated.
Mm-hmm.
You have to meet certain specifications. And we were able to work with our partner, Aeromexico, to make sure they were operational in time for all their inspections and all that. So we were able to work and partner to make things happen. I would say generally, because airports are 24/7, the best thing for me is our uptime, right? Like, if things are operational, if you don't know we exist, I'm fine with passengers assuming it's magic, right? Like, as long as I know everything is up, there's no outage, or if something goes down, I built the redundancy in our system that you don't notice. That's where I am happy, and my team is happy. You don't notice any of the mistakes. Don't
Well,
watch me.
I'm realizing the fact that we're here doing a 30-minute podcast, that the airport's still running. Like your team
Yeah.
is there. Like they're always there. And is there some kind of a knock or some kind of like a central place where you can sit and see like red, green, yellow and how everything's doing and the health of the system?
Yeah, we have the standard tools everyone has. Like I said, it's so big. The number of switches our team monitors and makes sure it's up is a bit much, and it's always growing because there's always new projects. But that's also part of the fun thing about aviation. Like there's a lot of capital programs, and every capital project that they're building, whether it's even new windows, right? There's tech and new windows. There's sensors now.
Oh, because it's a smart building. The whole city is a smart city. You're thinking about humidity, and you probably know temperature and all that throughout the whole place.
Yes. So we like consult with whatever new technology or whatever capital project they're working on, right? How can we make this cooler? How can I get this data? And then the next level is, once I have the data, what can I do with some AI with it? So there's a lot. I don't know if I answered your question. I kind of got
No, I think you did, because that's why I wanted to talk to you, because I think it's just so your vibe of enthusiasm through public service, through technology, just comes out. I mean, like you worked, for example, at the Free Library of Philadelphia for like almost 15 years. You have been a public servant through technology pretty much since jump. Like, what does that mean for you? How does working for a public agency different than like coming and working at Microsoft or Google?
Which is funny, because when I graduated back in the day, Microsoft was always a thing, like, oh, I want to get a job at, but I'm here in Philadelphia. I'm like, oh, I can stay here. There's opportunities here. But no, I was able to co-op. I went to Drexel University, DU. The co-op program, got exposed to different areas. I started as a web developer. I loved that. And this was the early 2000s. So it was like the heyday. You could really code Notepad and all that stuff.
That's when civilization peaked. PHP.
Yeah. Don't get me started. That's a whole nother pot. Man, we could talk. And then, I got the opportunity to work at the public library system, which I love. That's one of my other loves and special interests. Don't get me on books. Started there, and then I moved up, became a web development supervisor. And then over time, I became the IT department director for the library. But the thing is, I've changed. Like, working in a department or working for the public service, you get exposed to more things in tech. Like, I didn't have to stay in my lane of web development. I actually moved to like, hey, we have some on-prem servers. Now I'm going to learn about servers, or I have to reboot this thing. I'm in the server room. Now I have to care about cabling. Now I have to learn about this, learn about this, learn about this. And I don't think I would have gotten that opportunity if it wasn't for this department or working for the government.
Does the government, I think, gets a reputation of having older systems or being like not just a year behind, but like 10 years behind. But I would suspect that at the airport, it's kind of a balance. Like, it has to be stable, uptime above all else. So systems shouldn't be sexy. They should be reliable. But at the same time, you don't want to miss the boat. Like you kind of steepled your hands when you said AI, because you're probably looking for new ways to use new technology, but you're also, I assume, prioritizing stability above all else.
Right. It's always a balance, because there's always OpEx, right? Like, we want to do all these things, but can I actually maintain this once I implement something? How do I now make this a line item and can afford it? And
OpEx is operational expense?
Yes. Sorry. Yes. And in government, sometimes it's a bit hard. We have budgets, constraints that sometimes maybe other private sector does not in their round of funding, the constraints that we may have. So I'm always looking for that balance of, we want to stay innovative. Can I sustain this? And is this reliable? There's something, we don't want to be on the cusp. It's like, what's slightly behind, but not 10 years. No, we don't try to be that far behind.
Do VPs of IT at airports have a convention? Do you all have a group chat? How do you all talk? Because you said you've been to an airport, you've been to an airport, but there must be best practices, and you all must be hanging out together, figuring it out together.
Yes, actually, it's just so I'm not going this year, but our annual, it's actually the international convention. It's called ACI, I'm going to forget what ACI stands for, Airport Council Incorporated. Conference is this weekend in Toronto. But no, there are a lot of organizations in the airport world. It is a close, we talk to different airports all the time. We have a lot of the same struggles. I met recently like the folks in Atlanta, which I'm always like, wow, the level of scale, the busiest airport in the world. I'm talking to their IT department and I find out they're having the same issues or trying to solve the same problems I am. So no, our worlds, we do talk a lot.
This is I'm looking online, the Airport Councils International.
Yes, Toronto this weekend.
Oh, wow. And you're not going. It's got everything. Look at this: airport infrastructure funding, airline competition, security, connectivity, all that stuff.
Oh yeah, it's fun times.
But it's so funny to discover that like there's a whole world out there, and you all are just making it happen, and we just fly, and we don't even think about it. That's
good, man. Enjoy the magic. Enjoy the magic. We want a seamless. Your travel should be seamless, right? Like I know you said that there were a couple of hiccups on your last trip.
Yeah, we had a really interesting one. I won't name the airport, the airline or the airport, but basically we were in the middle of boarding. I was looking at my Apple Wallet, and the pass disappeared. And then this murmur went through the crowd, and we were all checked. The opposite of checked in. We were all checked out simultaneously. And then when we went to the change seats map to look at the map of the seats, they were all empty. Like everyone was just randomly unchecked in, and they freaked out, and it pushed the whole thing back 3 hours. And ultimately it was the airline, not the airport, that had the issue. But we had never heard of anything like that in the middle of a boarding process to deplane and reassign seats to everyone. It was crazy. And it just felt like one of those select star from seats, delete seats kind of situations. You know what I mean? Like little Bobby tables got involved and we all lost our seats.
Yeah, no, that sounds unique. If that's any consolation, I don't think that happens often.
No, that was very unique. It felt very strange.
Yeah.
I'm curious, is there something that is like the culture of airports, the teamwork, the coordination, the constant motion that maybe more people should appreciate that you're seeing every day in your job, but we don't know that exists?
There is. So, like I said, the airport is a city. We work with, of course, the airlines. We have our tenants, like the commercial space. We also have the federal agencies, Customs Border Patrol, TSA, FAA, that we all work together to make sure, again, everyone is safe. Like the number one thing in airports is safety, right? Safety is number one, full stop. And then we try to make sure your experience is as seamless as possible and as comfortable as possible. So it's always collaboration, and it's all the mission, like with operational. We always say, as long as those planes can take off and land, as long as the planes take off and land, we're good.
That's all that matters.
Where you need to go.
Is it a secret, or is it okay to know like generally how big your team is? Like how many people are working in IT at an airport?
So our IT department, we have about a little shy of 80.
Oh, wow.
Shy of 80. We're a good mix. We have a city staff, and we have a lot of contractors. We do have a lot of contract staff, embedded staff that help us.
Now you moved from the city of Philadelphia to the library to the airport, but like how would someone just even get involved? Like I think I saw on your LinkedIn that you were actually here you go. Come join our team, cable plant software coordinator. Like these jobs are happening. There's like cable management is a job, and vendor oversight. It's not a secret club. We can just apply for these jobs and get into this business.
Without a doubt. I will say anyone, if you go to your local airport website, there are job openings. The airport is always hiring. If it's not just the airport, the airlines, you can always work at an airport. For example, at our airport, in the tech world, yes, we're always trying to get more staff. And because we're a city, most of our jobs are publicly announced. You can always go to the city's website.
Oh, good point.
And that's the same for every city.
Mm-hmm.
Because just so people may not know, most airports are either owned by a local city or an authority. We are a city owned. Like a lot of the biggest ones, like Atlanta is a city owned airport. Los Angeles is a city owned airport. But then there's like JFK. They have the authority, the Port Authority.
The Port Authority. But it's not a business in the sense of like, is the goal of the airport to make a profit, or is the goal of the airport to break even and keep running?
Uh,
Like there's not
well,
I can't buy stock in an airport and
no,
say,
we're
I
still
want
a
the profits.
municipality. It's a government agency.
Right. It's a service being provided.
Right. Even though it's an authority, it's still a government entity.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's another thing that's important. Right now, we're having a lot of conversations about where people fit and how these, like the post office or the airport, like these are not businesses. Do not expect profit. Expect high quality service that runs 24/7. So given your job and what we understand as techies, what do you think that the public or maybe policymakers should better understand about technology within civic infrastructure? What's a thing that if I were, a congressperson or a city council person that I should know about your job that maybe they don't know?
Everyone who works for the airport, I'll speak for all people who work for, we're dedicated to what we do, right? Unlike, I know we talked before, like there are a lot more glamorous world, the startup world, like the glamour, but the people who work in this space want to do this, and we're dedicated to providing the service and making sure people are able to use our facilities easily, safely, quickly. So it's the people who run these systems. We're dedicated. We like it. We love it. And we just need as much support to make sure we can maintain all these services.
Yeah. I think that people need to realize that like civil servant and being a civil servant and working in public service as a public agency is a choice, and people do it because they love it. They're excited. They want to be in the room where it happens.
Yes. I tell people like you got to always, every young tech person has to ask themselves, what kind of tech person do I want to be?
Yeah.
Right. And I realize I like all of the things, right? And I position myself to have exposure to all of the things, physical infrastructure, cloud infrastructure. I don't know if there's other places you can do that, right? Like the ability to switch between, or even
That's
like
a great
you said,
point. Like
I started at the library and then I moved to the airport. And then I'm like, well, maybe I want to switch to the water department. Maybe I want to, like, I can move around.
And it's a playground. Like I have a small half rack in my house because I think we're all IT for our homes. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So like, I feel like a little tiny bit of like, I'm running the little tiny city that is the little, couple thousand square feet of the house, and like managing our little ubiquity network. So when I look at things like an airport or a library or a city, I put it in the context of what I understand, except it's just that times 10,000 or whatever. But what a playground for cabling, for software, for systems, for hardware that you get to play in every day.
Yeah, it truly is. It's everything you can think of. We like I said, we have on-prem, we have cloud, we're hybrid. We have the security piece. We have a InfoSec team. We have our systems. We have help desk. We have anything you can think of under airport. And this same thing exists in every airport, every commercial airport throughout the United States.
Has it helped in your job? I'm assuming that there are IT VP types in airports that aren't technical. They're just more managerial. But you're a programmer also, and like you know what they're doing, in the sense of like you're not asking anyone to do something that you couldn't maybe either do yourself or learn to do yourself. So does it help to be a technical manager in this kind of a space as opposed to simply a people manager?
I think what I always tell people, no matter what, the key thing, regardless, curiosity. Curiosity. You have to just be curious about it, because the higher you go up, I'm not a SME anymore. I'm more of I have a wider breadth of things.
Right. I think about it as being like a Swiss Army knife. Like I can do a bunch of little stuff, but I'm not very good at it because it's a kind of a crappy little knife.
Right. I might be good at it that day. It becomes my special hobby and I'm focusing on it.
Yeah.
But then or sometimes I feel like, the Matrix Neo, like I know Kung Fu, I just have to do a deep
Yeah.
dive. Now I
When
know
she
this.
downloads the helicopter instruction, I need to know about helicopters right now. And they go, okay, now I can fly a helicopter.
Sometimes it's like that at the airport. Like I'm doing this, or we get a lot of you just have to adapt. You have to one, be curious. I always say that's just my personal motto. You have to be enthusiastic about everything. Otherwise, why are we doing this? And but the tech background does help. It does help. But I saw someone posted this thing on a GitHub. It can show you like a graph of all your see how far it is. I'm forgetting all your when you push. What's that called?
All your commits?
All your commits. See, I became corporate.
See, now you're gonna have to go and get back into it. Okay.
I know, but it showed a graph. So you can make a graph of your commits. And I did it, and I was like, oh, wow, I can see the point when I became management.
Oh, no.
You just see it just dies off.
No, you're hurting me because I know exactly when my GitHub commit graphs is not quite so green.
Yeah.
It's like, what were you doing there? I was in meetings, man.
So it's like as you grow, you accept that, but it's still exciting. It's still fun, and I get to dabble in when I want to. But my team will not give me the keys. I'm like read-only access. Don't let me.
It's probably best that we have read-only access.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for chatting with me today.
My pleasure.
It has been a lot of fun talking with Camille Tomlin, VP of IT Systems and Infrastructure at the Philadelphia International Airport. This has been another episode of Hansel Minutes, and we'll see you again next week.